morning. We are still in the morning here. Check, time check.
11:18.
So coming to you at a different time today. We had some conflicts today, but hey, we're all here sitting around the mic. What's going on today, guys?
Yeah,
What's
what we
happening?
consider, is that like a frost delay that we had for our show?
It was kind of like the golf courses are closed and we wanted a late start today.
That's a good point. That's a good
So how are you guys doing?
Awesome. How about you?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm more interested in how you guys are now that the golf courses are shut down. Because now we're all done, right?
We are done. Yep.
What's happening? What's happening at Creek right now? Downstairs. I mean, we're sitting in the vacant restaurant right now. So what's happening at Rose Creek?
Yeah, we're now in between food and beverage vendors. So we'll be looking for another person to service our season pass members and guests. So they're actually having people going through and touring the building already.
This place is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? Between after the seasons moved out and we had Biggers for about 2 years, and then the Legends were interested in moving on in, and so we had the Legends for I think about a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere around that area. And so they're moving on now.
So are you going to be flipping burgers next year? Is it cooking with Cookie full time next year?
If you ask my brothers, I am the last person you want making burgers. He said I would be a great hockey puck maker, but burgers, no, not so much.
Okay, so officially, so people should feel comfortable eating here next year. The fact that you are not going to be cooking.
No, I'm not saying I might not have some of that secret sauce in the back room, but I could do a little of that. What was that again?
Pimento cheese, Grandpa George's pimento cheese, right around Masters Week. Yeah.
So yeah, that could still happen.
Okay. So as far as golf shops concerned, though, are you what's happening down the golf shops? You kind of like golf shop credits all used up. Is there anything? How about for you, Greg? Anything going on at the shop?
No, we're closed.
Closed.
So again,
Okay.
right? Let's give a shout out to our co-workers, their superintendents, and their little minimal staffs that they have.
Right.
We talked about this. I missed the Halloween episode, although I was watching, but I did miss it. It was scary. I like the fact that people were walking in and out of the door. That door's probably never been used twice in one day.
They were walking in and out of the door?
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were.
You should.
You were sleeping at the time.
So you should. Tori behind the camera, she was freaking out every time the door would open or something. It was just. Yeah,
I thought you guys had kind of planned that, but I guess you hadn't planned that.
I had no idea. So
anyway, our superintendents and their staffs, they had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which were nice days. We understand it. We appreciate that everybody wants to play until the last possible day, but they had 3 great days to get their work done the right way, not just a way, the right way. Our superintendent said that's the first time he's ever actually been able to get things to bed the right way.
Yeah.
So we appreciate everybody's patience. We know that there's at least one other golf course open in the metro, but they did have a couple applications of spray that they needed to put on while people weren't playing. They did top dress, they did rope greens, they did get all their stuff done. So kudos to all the guys for doing that.
Yeah, and the window, like you said, I mean, it was pretty clear cut, you know. And I know a lot of people were asking, you know, like why not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but you need some time there where there's no wind and spray nozzles aren't freezing up, and you got to give that ample time for putting the course to bed. And I'm sure those that maybe didn't do that, you know, you look at the long range forecast right now, and you're going, you're hoping that there's going to be some good days still in the forecast if you haven't done all that tidying up, but it could go the other way pretty quick too. So I feel really, really confident that, you know, our superintendent staff and what they did to get everything done is like you said, done the right way, and that we're going to have awesome golf going into spring. Right. So,
yeah, I would think so. I think even, I know Eric Hansen, our staff, I was telling Greg this earlier, even today, you know, yesterday was a really windy day. Wednesday and Thursday were both really windy days. So they were able to get, not only were Monday and Tuesday excellent, but because there was no frost, it extended their days. So, I mean, they were really able to do a lot of spraying, and that spraying has continued today because they haven't even completed all the back 9 just yet. And so you really do, you need to have calm conditions. It was just a benefit for them that it was warm, but
Yeah, and so I had a lot of people ask me just, when we were shut down, like why do you even need good conditions? And a lot of it comes back to, well, wind, right? You have drift, right? You
Yes.
have overspray going on, and you're applying these topical applications that then have the tendency to be rubbed off. They need to adhere to the leaf blade. They need to make sure that you're getting a saturated application there. So if there's drifting going on, if there's spray nozzles being frozen up, you're not doing a good job, and you leave your product susceptible to disease. And one big thing that you see a lot is that snow mold, right? Because we get a lot of snow mold in this area, and that really, it's not like a super damaging type deal, but it does delay playability into the early months of the year. So, or when we want to get going and everyone is just, chomping at the bit to go play golf, and if you've got snow mold out there, it doesn't allow for it. So that's why we do it, right?
Yeah.
So
And good conditions, in my opinion, are not just created by mowing.
right.
So I mean, there's a lot of other things that need to go on. It's just not you get on a mower and you get good conditions. So
Right.
again, part of the reason I think all of our Park District golf courses have been in exceptionally good shape is we give our superintendents and their staffs an opportunity at the end of the year to get things put down the right way. So when we start the year, we're in good shape. So kudos to
Yep.
those guys.
Way to go, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate all your hard work. So we're kind of shut down. So now we are shut down, I should say.
I was gonna say, are you
We're
a couple holes
kinda-
open
yeah,
or what?
We're kind of shut down. Today we are going to take some time and actually talk about some golf travel. Like now, if the season wasn't enough and you're looking to go south or play somewhere else, this is a good time to get the buddies and really put together a buddies trip. And there's a lot of people that have asked me questions about it. GMAC is like the golf trip connoisseur. This guy knows what he's talking. Yeah, you are. You say no, but you are. You are.
I've been fortunate to do it. I've been fortunate. We call it a bucket list trip.
Yeah.
Except I have a bucket list trip every November. It's kind of an inside joke to the guys that go on a trip, but there are multiple things to think about.
Yeah.
When you're taking a trip. Again, there's the whole spectrum. So questions, go for it.
Yeah, and we are, with this new time slot, hopefully, we're going live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you guys got any questions, golf travel, Fargo golf or otherwise, shoot them our way and we'll answer them as best we can in the live format. And then even after, if you're listening to this podcast, after it's aired. So first thing I want to say is I want to ask all of you guys, what is your favorite destination? Golf destination? And I'll you know what, I'm gonna tailor this in the United States. Can't go internationally, maybe not yet. The national. What is your favorite place to go?
Well, I would think when you'd say like golf destination, I mean, I think we've all been fortunate to be able to play some really nice golf courses.
Yep.
And some of those might just be remote places where you might just go play that golf course or whatever. But I was fortunate to go with Greg on one of his trips,
His
bucket list trips. Yeah. And it truly is a bucket list destination. And if anybody has not been there, I would really highly recommend, if they are thinking of traveling, of going out west to Bandon Dunes. And I think one of the reasons why I had never been out to the West Coast before. And so just to be out oceanside, I thought was just amazing as far as the breathtaking views. I mean, it is, and out in Bandon on that property, it's got just, some incredible views.
And it's getting bigger.
Yeah,
by the
it really
way.
is. And the thing about Bandon, what makes it so cool is that there is such a wide variety of great golf courses there. They now have 5 18-hole facilities on property. And they're all, probably top, would you say top 50, top 30?
So actually, I believe all 5 of the Bandon Dunes golf courses are ranked in the top 10 for public golf courses.
Places you can play. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's important right there. Like you say, places you can play once again. So, anybody can go to these. And so I think being able to have 5 golf courses, and we're talking, these are tight. I mean, close in proximity. So you can stay right there. It's a very, very short little shuttle from where you may place to stay.
Yep.
I'm talking short, meaning is in within 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes
Yep.
to each of the golf courses. Boom, 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 boom. And you are playing a golf course that's going to be equal to probably just about any experience you're going to go,
Right.
maybe worldwide. I mean, close. I mean, it's really. And I think what's really neat too, I like it's kind of casual. So the dining experiences, I mean, they've got some really nice dining experiences. They've got some that are kind of more just like your pub atmosphere. And those make it, I think, really kind of neat as well. I mean, you can kind of dress down, have some fun with the guys or girls if you're going on a girls trip or husband and wife's trip, whatever it is.
The thing with Bandon though too, is we've all talked about this, is it's golf, right? It is, if you're going there to do, to go to a resort, and you could, I guess, but if you're just going there to hang out, I mean, it'll be okay. But the golf, I mean, it is a golf destination, and they cater to golfers and what golfers like. And so if you're on a buddies trip and you're planning to just go nuts on golf and just gorge yourself on golf, that's the place, isn't it?
It's one of the things to think about when you're starting to plan a trip. If you're going to plan a trip, right? Who's going to go? I mean, is it?
That's we got to come back to
golfers,
that part, the chemistry of the group.
Who's going to go? What kind of weather do you want? Do you want to have guaranteed good weather? All those things kind of start dictating where you kind of want to go. Do you want a resort atmosphere? Do you want to have, do you want to have a pool? Do you want to have things like that? So there are things to think about before you go. And is it a couples trip? Is it a guy's trip? Is it a gal's trip? What exactly is it? And then once you identify that, then you can start to identify, maybe Bandon is not the place to go.
Right.
Maybe you want to go somewhere else. How many different experiences do you want? Do you care if you just go to a hotel and we're going to go there for 4 days? We know that the golf course is great because most of the bigger resorts have a golf course that will be great. We just want to play that every day. That's great too. So there are some things to think about to start with if you're going to do a trip.
So now that being said,
yes,
your favorite place?
Well, Bandon is my favorite place,
yep.
Just because it's hard to get to, so that's a detriment. It does take a full day to get there.
But it's also a plus.
And a full day to get back. It's also a plus. I like the fact as well, it's only golf. That's all they have, right? Yep. You can play as much golf as you want to play, and there's nighttime activities. Obviously, you can find a place to play games or have a beverage or food and stuff like that. But you get up the next day and it's just golf. I like that, but again, it takes time to get there. Weather-wise, the times that I can go that we've gone in November, you can get some dicey weather there. We've had dicey weather, so sometimes if you want good weather, you have to go there at a different time. Maybe not November. We've had great weather there too, so it can vary.
Yeah, I think when you think about what we think is an ultimate destination in some Bandon, because that's mine. That, like, hands down, that's my favorite place on earth. And then the stipulations, though, when you say, like, is it a husband and wife trip?
Right.
Is it a trip with maybe some people that struggle to walk, because that's a huge deal
again, right?
Bandon, right?
Yep, because it is walking only.
Yeah.
I mean, they have certain exceptions there, but it is a walking only facilities. All 5, going to be 6 or 7 or 8, who knows?
Yeah, just keeps
so
on growing.
That matters. Again, you bring up a good point. You got to be able to know who you're going with and what their capabilities are. One of the other reasons I like Bandon, the fact that you can be there and be within any place you want to be within 5 minutes. But the other part is everybody thinks it's so hard there. They're afraid to go there because it's going to be hard there. It's not hard.
It's not.
It's not, right?
Completely.
You can get in trouble there. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. I mean, you off the tee box especially, you have 100 yards or more on most cases.
Right.
And if you do take a caddy, Bandon's kind of the first place that I really started like the caddy experience. I think it's awesome. Caddies do a great job there. People ask me the first time we went there, I think we were there for 5 days. I brought like 3 dozen golf balls. I think I used 5.
5 golf balls.
5 golf balls.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
unless you purposely hit it in the ocean, which you can. That's kind of the deal there. You really And if you have a caddy, you're probably going to have more balls when you're done than when you started, because the caddies do a really good job of finding your ball plus somebody else.
It's just got that mystique of being, you've got the wind, you've got the weather, you've got crazy undulation, and it's just, I think we have this. We feel like world-class golf is synonymous with difficult golf, right? And it's just not that case. And I think when it was designed, I not for certain, but I would be willing to bet that when they designed it, they wanted golfers to come off of that golf course in better attitudes than they started, right? Which is a really tough thing to do, being that is like the happiest place on earth. Just hands down, like whenever I show up on property there, I am just ear to ear smiling. But when you walk off that golf course, any golf course that you're on that property, you're like, when are we doing it again? Right. But that pays tribute to, how they design those and how well they just thought of everything.
And golf went for 35 years where, and again, architects will do what they tell you to do. We went 35 years where the owners of the facilities, it was the thing. I want the hardest golf course in America. I want the hardest golf course in America. I want the hardest golf course in America.
It's a badge of honor.
So we got 30 years worth of the hardest golf courses in America. That's great one time. And then after that, it kind of like, I don't want to get beat up like that all the time.
You just walk off the golf course feeling hurt and like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that you don't want that on a buddies trip. You don't want that on a group travel type deal.
Right.
So, all right. So we're all in agreement that Bandon Dunes is the travel destination. All right. Right. That's what we're saying right now.
I think it's number one. But here's what I'll tell you: in a week here, I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to go to North Carolina.
And you guys have been doing this kind of
like, back and forth.
Yeah, I love
just one-time bucket list trips, 6 years in a row. 6 years in a row. Somebody's gonna be laughing as they're watching this right now. So we went because Pinehurst in North Carolina is a similar. I didn't know anything about it other than you hear about Pinehurst #2 as a U.S. Open course and the resort, things like that. They have 9 courses there, and that they have a similar. People say, "Well, what do you like better?" I said, "Well, I like Bandon better." But Pinehurst is awesome. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. But again, you can stay on property. Shuttles are awesome. You can get anywhere within 10 minutes, although the golf courses are more spread out there, except for 2 or 3 of them are in the same area. It's just different. The weather's better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Golf is more trees. Not that Bandon doesn't have trees, but it's more trees because North Carolina has trees everywhere. And then this year we're not going to stay on property at Pinehurst because again, I'd been told that there's a golf course across every street, and kind of when you drive there, there's tons of golf. So we're going to go to Pine Needles, Mid-Pine, stay there. They have 18 holes across the street from each other. And then we're going to go to Tobacco Road, which none of our guys have ever played. And we're going to play Southern Pines too. And none of our guys have ever played that. So we get a little different experience. And again, you have to know, right? You have to know the guys and gals you're going with. Pinehurst, 2 of the courses, they recommend you walk. You don't have to, but they recommend it. Again, caddies are great there, but they have the other courses are cart golf like every place else is. We're gonna not have caddies in this trip. We're gonna take carts. So,
well, I'm super excited to see or hear about what you guys think of the. I don't want to say the anti-Pinehurst Pinehurst trip.
Right.
The North Carolina trip that you play the others. Right. Because and recently the others Mid-Pine. Are you guys doing Southern Pines?
We are.
Okay. So very recently there's been just this huge resurgence of, popularity amongst the Mid-Pines, Southern Pines. Tobacco Road has always been kind of like one of those golf courses that I've always wanted to play just because it looks just crazy. And then Pine Needles has got a lot of notoriety, but when people think of North Carolina, they think of Pinehurst #2, and they think of that's kind of Pinehurst Village and all that. So be really interested because I've never had any experience with any of those of the other golf courses.
Last time we were there, we played Mid-Pines and Pine Needles while we were at Pinehurst, and Pine Needles had the U.S. Women's Open. They've had it a couple times. It gets great reviews. The golf course across the street, Mid Pines, in my top 5. I can't wait to go back. So, I mean, there's multiple, again, right? If you're going to go on a trip, you got to be ready to do the due diligence of where you want to play. I like easy. I'm like Matt Cook. I like easy. This is going to be a little bit more difficult for us because we have to get in and travel each day.
Okay.
So that'll be a little harder experience. And hopefully whoever is setting this up for you, you have to kind of want to do it. And hopefully we've got this set up the right way, but it does take a little more work. It's not work, but it's kind of fun work, but it does take a little bit more work to do what you're going to do. How many people are you going to go, right? How many, everybody wants to take 24 people, right? You've been through that experience.
Did the 24 deal.
So the more people you get, the harder it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact.
100%.
That's just a fact.
And so now your trip that you're taking, how many do you got?
We're taking 12.
Okay,
we've 8, in my opinion, 8's the perfect number, right? It's easier. It's easier to get accommodations. The golf is a little bit easier. We're taking 12. I'm super excited about it, but from now, we're leaving in a week. From now until that week, there's 12 opportunities there for people not to be able to go, or 24 opportunities for people not be able to go.
So saying that you got 12,
yes.
How long of a what was your booking window? How long did it take you to formalize like accommodation? Like when, for our listeners, how long should they be planning things
as
out?
soon as you know where you're going to go and when you want to go, you need to do it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we didn't go to Bandon this year is because we couldn't get a reservation.
Yeah.
For 12.
Yeah, I think Bandon right now they've just started getting back in line with post-COVID type stuff.
Yep.
So
Bandon is a year.
Yeah.
You want to, if you know when you're going to go, and especially because what's happening at Bandon is when groups are going there to play, before they leave, they're booking it again for the next year. So the more opportunities you can get at Bandon, the sooner the better. Pinehurst has been, I'm not going to say it's been easier, but it's been a little bit easier. But if you know when you're going to go, you need to contact them. And the facilities that I've worked with and the people that I've worked with have been really good at I'm not doing this 5 different times separately. I'm talking to one person, and that one person is doing the work for me. As long as I have all the information set. So
they're setting up tee times at like all the different golf courses for you. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Like even with Mid Pines, Southern Pines.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
It is. Yeah. So, I mean, you want to try to find, and there's now the golf is kind of back booming again. There's lots of travel places that you can go to and do it. And again, Google and Siri or whatever, they're all good. Just say it and you'll get a whole list of how you do it. But the number of players and travel now is harder because you're on an airplane, right? I mean, airplanes it's hard to get, again, that number, right? Can you get 12 tickets at the same time, leaving the same places? The more people you get, you almost end looking at the end game, right? We want everybody there by 5 o'clock. How you get there is how you get there, right? So we're going to take off at 5. But the way the flying is going right now, that becomes more difficult as well.
Sure.
Connections are tough. The more people you have to do it is tough, right? So, the more you can streamline that, the better. And the earlier you get on that, the better. And again, when you start to do these things, cost is always involved. But if you hang around and wait for a cheaper something, there's a pretty good chance it's not going to come to fruition. So you got to be willing to go, okay, we're going on this trip. This is what it is.
The price is what the price is.
And we want it. And again, the sooner you do it, the better, right? And then you add, again, who's traveling? How are you traveling? We have golf clubs, right? How are you going to get your golf clubs there? Multiple ways to get your golf clubs there.
There are
2 big ways. You can get them on an airplane, right? I do not right now. And again, not the airline's fault, kind of their fault, but it's hard for them, right? The connections now, if you try to travel, your connections when you're doing it, they're like 45 minutes. And if you're late one place and your clubs get stuck someplace and you're supposed to be there on a Friday and you're supposed to play the weekend, all of a sudden you can't do it.
Yeah. And the Bandon one makes it really difficult to travel with your clubs because with the connections and those being so tight, and then you have to take, unless you're bougie and you like to take the PJ into North Bend, you're having to take an hour and a half shuttle from the airport to Bandon Dunes,
or Eugene or Portland or whatever.
So and when the shuttle's there, you got to go, right? So especially if you're in a group travel deal, and so getting your clubs there is a huge priority. So anytime that we've ever done it, and it's not necessarily a cost saving measure, right?
It's not.
But to have that it's more insurance, right? Is when you ship sticks, you use
you've used Ship Sticks, a company called Ship Sticks. That's what they do. They also do luggage now and skis. So they're multifaceted. But the nice thing about having them do that is you're going to do it far enough advance. Again, right? These are points where you want to make sure that you're planning for something bad to happen and you still get your sticks.
Yep.
Or you still get there. So
if it
says 5 days, right? You maybe want to go in front of that just because of weather. And again, transportation is hard. So we've used Ship Sticks, a company called Ship Sticks. They do a great job with it. It's not a cost savings per se.
It's not.
But your clubs are going to get there. The thing that I like about it is for them, they follow them. They know when there's an issue. We had an issue one year that the guy from Ship Sticks texted me or emailed me and he said, "You're going to have a problem here. We're working on it." And without that, we wouldn't have had clubs for 3 days.
That's crazy.
Can't think of a better way to blow a golf trip than not having your clubs. So that's another $20 to $30 to $50.
And again,
you need your golf clubs.
And again,
just brutal. Like throwing down all this money on like just an awesome golf destination and then playing with some rentals.
Greg McCullough rentals that don't have a putter, 2 left-handed clubs, things like that. So be thinking about how you're going to get yourself there, then your clubs there. A due diligence there on the front end matters.
I would rather play all 7 days in the same clothes that I arrived in.
That's right.
Lose my suitcase than lose the golf clubs, because it makes that much more of a difference, right? It makes it more anyways. So that's definitely something that you got to weigh out. Now, we talked about the group chemistry vibe, right? So you're rolling in with like 8 guys, 12 guys, 24 guys. The group chemistry deal, if you are a group coordinator, is something not to take lightly. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 individuals could ruin a trip.
There it is. I mean, you got to say it, right? So you have to be careful in how you plan these trips. So this is just more of an education part. Anytime that you would plan a trip, right, you're going to make sure you like everybody on that trip, or at least make sure that there isn't one person that could create some type of drama, because the last thing you want is drama.
Why do you keep kind of looking towards Tori when you've been doing that?
She let us know that she might not be a candidate for group travel.
Or I have a fun time.
Again, right? So that you bring up a good point. A fun time.
Yeah.
What's a fun time for some is not a fun time for others. So, and that's okay, right? We're all different. We all do things differently. But what kind of, again, right? What kind of fun are you going to have? Right? Is fun? What is your fun?
Yeah, but there is something to be said about almost getting a cast of characters, right? Because you do want that one person in the trip that's going to close the bar down. And you do want, seriously. And then
Tori's going with you.
Okay, Tori, you're back on the trip. And then you want, the guys that will play golf forever, right? And you want
right.
So you just want to make sure that the cast of characters gel together, right? And everyone has that commonality. Because I've been in some travel things that have not gone that great, and then in rooming together with people, you just got to be very careful with that, because if you're the group coordinator, the rooming situations get super dicey. So have you guys had any horror stories?
I've traveled with great guys, so I'm not. No, seriously, and you're right. There has to be, and it's okay if you want to do different things. It's totally okay when you get again, if you get 2 people and you want to do different things, that's great. But when you get 8 and 12 people, they want to do different things. That's okay. 3 or 4 guys want to go play more golf. That's awesome. 3 or 4 guys want to sit in their favorite place and watch TV. 3 guys want to go take a nap. That's great. It is. That's great. And that's the way it should be. But, you know, again, not everybody has to do everything at the same time.
Right.
I have been super lucky. The guys that we've traveled with they know they can do their own thing.
Do you guys rotate at all? Do you guys keep the same group? Is it the same group every time?
We've been pretty consistent. We've had a couple changes with people, again, not being able to go. I mean, that's when you're a year apart and you know, life changes, life gets in the way. But we have I think everybody, once you do it, you're going to find out really quickly, you know, what worked and what didn't.
Yep.
And if I can help you with what works and what doesn't, you know, please let us know. But, you know, again, you gotta want to hang with those people for a week.
Yep.
And when something goes sideways, you got to be able to want to hang with those people for a week. So
you have to be able to hang out with people in an airport type setting for potentially 24 hours, you know, in a constrained, possibly stressful environment, right? So take that into consideration. Okay. Now, as you're traveling, what is the number one thing that you are not skimping on when it comes to items in the golf bag, apparel? Is there anything that's a must-have as you travel, golf travel-wise? Is there a must-have that you can think of?
We've got our clubs.
Yeah.
You got golf balls. I think 2 things that people might not think about right away if they're going to play a lot of golf is golf shoes and socks.
Socks is my number one.
And then that's weird, but it, you know, at Bandon you're walking all the time, so socks are huge. I mean, you could go through 2 pairs of socks a day, and that sounds really funny. People are like, what? I'm like, no, it makes a huge difference to your experience, right?
New fresh socks.
Band-Aids are key.
Yeah.
If you're going someplace where it might get wet, little plastic baggies, Ziploc baggies. I never would have thought about that until we were at Bandon. They're a lifesaver. Big time lifesaver. And again, things that health-wise, blisters, you want Band-Aids. Be prepared with socks. Have the right kind of clothes if you can. I know it's hard depending on where you're going to go. They always say dress in layers. Those are all good things, and try to be comfortable, because if you want to play a lot of golf, the last thing you want to be is uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, when you're talking layers too, I'm surprised at how many people don't actually invest in like a good outerwear suit. You know, just basically, you know, everybody calls it a rain suit, but I mean, I truly say it's like an outerwear suit. And I think maybe it's just because, like, well, if it's rain, I'm not playing any golf. But, you know, if you think of, I don't know how you guys are, but having 4 kids and playing in a lot of different sports and activities and different types of weathers, I tell everybody, I wear my rain gear, if that's what you want to call it, way more off the golf course than I do on the golf course.
100%.
I'm going to a football game, a soccer game, whatever, because those things have multi-purpose. It's not just being rain repellent or rain waterproof, I should say. But it's just a great, you know, as far as a wind barrier, it's going to just create that warmth that you want. And so, like you say, being comfortable on that. We talked about the weather in Carolina. You think, oh, going to Carolina, you're going to have some beautiful weather. That may have probably been one, if not maybe the worst weather experience I've ever had on a golf course.
It was.
I mean, you're talking torrential rains where I can't believe we were able to play Pinehurst 2 the day we were playing because of how much water had accumulated. I mean,
was everyone prepared with rain gear, by the way?
We were all prepared as much as we could be, but we were not warm. We were not prepared warm. So I've been to Bandon a bunch. I played in every kind of conceivable condition. I've never gotten cold there. A little more prepared. That day we played at Pinehurst,
bone chilling.
Our caddy got hypothermia.
That's
our caddy quit after 8 holes.
That's the thing. We were cold and we were wet, even with proper equipment.
Right.
Can you imagine if you had just a little bit less than proper equipment? I mean, our caddy literally had to. He was hypothermic.
By the way,
he had to hang it up, and we were only 8 holes into it.
Nothing stings more than going on a golf trip and going to like an amazing destination, getting crappy weather, not being prepared for it, and then getting the sting of buying a rain suit in a pro shop at one of these golf destinations, because there's no way you are paying a discounted rate for a golf rain
And
suit.
this work, and again, right? Well, this works the other way too. If you're going to a destination that's going to be hot, shorts, sunscreen, glasses,
Yeah.
hats, all those things they we don't necessarily think about here. We wear hats and things like that, but if you're going someplace warmer, you want your body to be ready for 4 or 5 days. You don't want to get tortured that first day and just have an awful experience. So there's multiple things there.
I love the Ziploc baggie. I love the socks deal.
Yeah.
That's one of the most underrated things that people don't account for is the socks.
And with, speaking of your feet, typically I'm going to bring, if not 2 pair, I might even bring a 3rd pair of shoes.
See, that's aggressive though. 3 pairs of shoes.
Well, got a style is a little bit important too. So it might not match everything. 2, but
guaranteed match.
Yeah, that's right.
Guaranteed 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
So once again, if you run into issues as far as with wet conditions, you want to play day 2 on wet shoes.
Yeah,
I certainly don't.
Yeah.
Even just, if you're walking all the time, I think just from a comfort standpoint, I mean, your feet are going to sweat for crying out loud. So
if you're walking a lot, again, I'm going to go back to the sock deal. The socks are amazing, and these are not $2 socks.
No.
$2 socks are great at times, but you want a sock that helps you, not makes your feet sweaty.
For sure.
You're making an investment as far as a trip like this. So it's not, like I say, on the cheap. So therefore, to enjoy it to the fullest.
And have fun with it. I mean, everybody's worried. I mean, everybody's got to play good, right? You don't play that first day you're out there, you just play terrible, and all of a sudden you have a bad time. Come on, have fun with it.
So this leads me into my next question. So got this big buddies trip, you got group chemistry, you got everything's lined up, you got the weather, you got the golf courses. What are you playing? Like, what's the game?
Depends on the group.
Okay.
Right. I mean, some people want to play for more money than others. I don't think, again, it depends on the group you have. The group that we've gone with, we don't play for a lot of money. We throw $20 in, we play.
You guys are just kind of,
we go play. I mean, that $20 is, there's some bantering that goes on after you're done. Some may have to be more than that. Some may not want to play for money at all. But you want to have fun. What tees are you playing?
See, that's
multiple tees, right?
Yep.
I mean, you go to world-class facilities, and you're going to have people that want to do what? They want to play the back tees.
Yeah,
go for it. And again, right? You can play whatever tees you want. Whatever yardage you're used to playing at your home course. If you're playing someplace that you would be equal to that, then play the same tees. If you think it's going to be harder than that, there's nothing wrong with moving that. If you're used to playing at 6,500 yards, play at 6,000. On our trip, we have some good players, but we play 6,000 to 62, and that's it. If the next tee is 66, 67, no, we don't go back to that tee because as a coordinator, I want everybody to have fun, and as a player, we want to have fun, right? What's the worst thing that could happen? I just shot my best round ever. Probably not going to happen that way, right? But geez, I mean, I made 6 birdies today.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The best.
Yeah.
So, and the other nice part too is the handicap system right now allows for all of the different tees.
Yep.
And you guys can talk about playing different tees on men's nights and stuff. But that definitely makes the trip a lot more easy. If you got guys that want to play back tees, forward tees, if you're playing a game, those handicaps allow for it now much easier than it used to. Right. So,
and most of the times the people that for us that we're taking someplace, we're going to go play places that are probably harder, right? Probably harder.
Yes. Probably harder, but also I think there's a little mindset there when people go play on a trip because they're not playing in their backyard anymore, right? And they don't know where the misses are, they don't know where, and they're in their head. So a lot of people don't play to the same, and there's so much stress too. I don't want to say
you want to play good. I gotta play good.
You want to make it count, right? Like I'm spending all this money, and the last thing I want to do is shoot 100 at Bandon Dunes.
Right.
Well, it's not going to happen, but 2, I mean, that's where that group chemistry too.
And 6,500 yards in Fargo, Moorhead golf courses, will be different than 6,500 yards wherever you're going.
Yeah.
Whether it's Arizona
High
or
or low.
Florida
Yep.
or wherever, it's, you know, all those places are a little bit different.
Did you guys learn something on golf travel?
Tori's like, oh, sorry, dropped off.
So my question is, what is the best place to go if you're a fair weather golfer that just wants to have fun and do other things other than golf too?
That's a great question. So never really been on one of those trips.
Sweet shots.
Well,
What
obviously, if you want fair weather, right, what time of year are you going? That's going to dictate a little bit about the weather first. You know, if you're going in the wintertime, right, we're coming into winter, we want to go someplace better. So you want Southern California, Arizona, Texas, Florida would be those other, you know, would be those places. Really, facilities do a nice job of, you know, we want to play golf, but we also want to go shopping and we also want to walk, right? So again, right, the searches that you can do that will give you a pretty good list of where you go. And then again, check them out. I mean, what does people say about them? I don't believe those all the time, but what do people say? Or do you know anybody that maybe has been there? That's kind of what I've kind of gone back to a couple different times. Our first trip to Pinehurst, I asked a peer of ours, Marty Lass at Edina Country Club, because I know he had been there. So Marty really kind of helped me out with, this is the person you need to call, right? That helped tremendously. And then from after that, it was just kind of go.
Yeah, and I think to speak to your question there, I think that you just have to prioritize, right? What is the most important part of the travel? Is it the nightlife? Is it the attractions? Is it family? Is it golf? You know, then from there you can start to prioritize, you know, where you want to go.
And the golf could literally be Top Golf, right? Yeah. We're gonna go to, right. So all of a sudden now we're gonna go to Vegas or we're gonna go to Phoenix, where you can play golf, but we just want to play Top Golf. And now you have hiking built in, you have good weather built in. Right. You know, there's 9-hole facility. You know, if it's just more of a relaxed, because it can get stressful because, you know, the golf we're talking about, there are some certain things that as golfers we need to be ready for. We need to be on time with our stuff. We need to play in a timely manner. So there are all of these golf rules, which may or may not match your trip, but you can still go someplace and play fun.
I was going to say, you might even, and we've kind of just mentioned 2 locations now that I would truly call bucket list type destinations. Right. And people aren't going to do this every year. They might do it just once in a lifetime. And so maybe before you even do something like that, maybe it is like, we've got some amazing places that are within driving distance.
Just going to say that we're so spoiled.
Yeah. You could go to Brainerd, Minnesota. You're going to find some, I look at areas of Pinehurst. You know, you've got like kind of the rich tradition of Pinehurst too. Beautiful golf course of 4. You start getting into, you know, some of the others on property, and it's kind of like, you know what? I feel like I'm in Brainerd, Minnesota. That's no disrespect to Pinehurst. That's how good Brainerd is. And so you can find, and there also you've got multiple courses all within a close proximity. So you could make it really easy. So maybe it's kind of like if you have 4 individuals, 8 individuals, whatever it might be, it's like, let's give this a whirl. Let's put this golf trip together, summertime golf trip. There, like Tori was even asking, you know, you've got a lot of different things you can also do being in kind of lakes area. Yeah. And so you could kind of explore that and find out how that all works. And is that something that people really would appreciate? And then kind of make that next trip maybe a little bit larger. I know a former assistant of mine who's now the director of golf in Brainerd, Adam Haugen, just got back. I think this is his 2nd or 3rd trip down to Missouri at
Top of the Rock,
Paynes
Valley, and all that.
Cool.
Adam seems to really enjoy that location,
Branson.
And that's probably, I don't know how many hours is that down there. Is that like a 9 hour, 10 hour trip? I don't know. You know, as far as there, and there's getting to be more in golf even in that vicinity. I've traveled down like to the Ozarks in southern Missouri, and there's just a boatload of really beautiful golf courses there. So I mean, if you want to make it probably not so difficult as far as in the pocketbook, you can still have some amazing golf experiences, and even like I say, that we can even drive too. But
I wholeheartedly agree that when you get into Lakes Country, Minnesota, it is always overlooked for like these big buddies trips. Now for us, we're always looking at trips that are like in the off season, you know, so we look at places that, you know, are opposite of our our seasons because we're just balls to the wall like during the golf season. But for those that are looking for a golf destination in season, like for our season, holy cow, like our virtual backyard is just chock full of awesome destinations. So we're very, very lucky to be, we're golf blessed. Hashtag golf blessed. So, we have any questions at all from the audience at all?
they're at lunch.
All right. Sounds good.
So the biggest mistake people make is they try to play too much golf. I mean, you may have a group that can do that, especially if you're going to have to walk a little bit. But even in carts, right? We're going to play 36 a day. We're going to be gone for 4 days. We're going to
36.
Right? We're going to play 36 a day.
So many.
It's great. Don't get me wrong, and it can be done. But by day 3, you're like, I don't want to play golf anymore.
Right.
Now we may not be like that, but we started with 36 at Bannon for 2 days that we were there. Now we just play 18 a day, and if guys or gals want to go play another 9, that day they can go do that. But there's just 18 schedule, and it seems to be, especially when you're at places now that have the little 9 holes or the putting green, or you just want to kind of relax and do it. So be careful with how much golf you think you need to play. Right? We got to get 7:30 in the morning. Right? I mean, especially this time of year in the winter, if you're going to play 36, you got to be on it. 7:15 is your first one. Noon is your second one, and you don't have a lot of time to enjoy yourself.
And hey, if you're playing 36 and you're going to be walking, get yourself on a treadmill right now. Seriously, because when
see Courts Plus.
Yeah, hey, we just did this. So when you look at some of these guys that are, like we're doing 36, and like, when was the last time you played 36 holes and walked it? When was the last time you played 36 holes regardless?
Exactly.
And then when was the last time you played 36 holes and walked it? And now when was the last time you played 4 days of golf in a row? Right? Because that also takes its toll. So
as Matt Cook says,
it's
golf
hard.
is tiring.
Golf
is
tough. But there is an endurance, because then on top of that, you're throwing in some
nightlife.
There's some nightlife that goes along with these trips, right? So it does kind of take its toll. So you got to be in some decent condition. It's tough. It's tough, man. Golf is tough. So, well, you guys have anything else to add to our travel? This was kind of a nice impromptu.
I think that was good.
Topic.
It'd be kind of fun, maybe to follow up and hear how Greg's.
Whatever you want me to do, I can be the on-course reporter if you want.
I love it.
That'd be good. Well, that's the other thing. Hopefully, I know he'll take lots of pictures, and that's the other thing. Like if you do go on a destination like a bucket list, everybody's probably's got a phone they're bringing with them anyway, and there's great cameras on your phones. But if you need to bring an extra camera or something like that, but take lots of pictures. You won't regret it.
Right.
It's great to have those memories and that you created, and to have kind of something to kind of remember that.
And take a caddy. Because not only you'll have a better experience, but then on top of that, they will be able to take those photos.
Right.
Then it's not always the, so you're gonna definitely want to take a caddy though when you're in these premier golf destinations. But yeah, the photographs, the memories that you have in some of these places, the last time that you're gonna go, they're fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, at this point, I think we're kind of nearing our end, aren't we? What do we say, producers?
To you.
Even our producers have given up. We've taken
It's like the
off.
season is over. Okay, and now we have to talk about what our schedule is. Do we have a schedule here? Is this the Bon Voyage show?
No, it's not.
Well, you're thinking once a month, right? Moving forward.
Well, we should maybe take a poll the audience or something.
Never return.
What was it? What was the stat? How many people had never heard of Muni Misfits out of the?
That was a big percentage.
It was a huge percentage.
It was like 50.
Or like 68%.
So 68%. Okay, we gotta get that number.
We gotta
down.
start going door to door this week.
Yeah, I know.
We're not politicians.
Or
We're
You
just,
guys should have gone trick or treating.
That's-
First trick or treating and been like, watch our show.
that's
just,
right.
Just hand out URLs. Yeah.
QR codes.
When Greg and I were doing,
God, we're having this idea right now.
when Greg and I were doing what's my tea time podcast, and we were looking, just kind of throwing it out there as like, if there's anybody that's interested in sponsors. I think Greg might have said at one point, it's like, yeah, if there's anybody that really enjoys our show and you'd like to sponsor us, let us know, you know. And if you really hate our show, if you send us money, we'll stop. And it worked. It only took $5,
It
but
didn't cost them very much.
So anyways, we'll have a revamped schedule. So we probably won't be doing you guys just have to let us know.
Well, do you guys want to do weekly? It's totally up to you.
Okay.
You're the talent.
Ooh, that's a heavy word. Talent. Well, we'll discuss this off camera. We'll figure out what we're going to be doing. So
Surprise. That'll be a surprise for
there we go. Surprise.
Stay tuned.
There you go. So I do want to say big thanks to just all the Fargo golfers, right, for just an awesome golf season. It seems like I can't believe this golf season's over. I mean, I feel like it's over, but this was super fast. Like it went by really, really fast. And thanks to all the Fargo golfers for putting in all of the rounds. Man, what was the official round count? 136?
138 or something like that.
yeah, I was going to say it had been over probably 138 anyway.
138,000 rounds. So that's a lot of golf. You guys love your golf courses. Hopefully hopefully. Anyways, so what a great season, by the way. Thanks guys for
Thank you.
putting up with me. So and we look forward to keeping this thing going. And if you haven't done so already, check out fargogolf.net. Also YouTube and Spotify and Facebook. This is Muni Misfits in the morning, and we'll see you guys sometime soon. Thanks for tuning in.